Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Vic's Garage. Today we're going to start building the jig that I'm going to be mounting the car on so we can start the bodywork, chassis, all the frame rails and all that stuff. So I scored these 12 foot pallet racking system beams here at a pretty good price on Facebook Marketplace, a couple $100 for the lot of these. And I'm going to build the frame out of them. So we're going to use these for the structure. I've looked at a few other jig designs people have done, and I've kind of got a vision how I want to mount this car on it. So we're going to get started in cutting these up and making sure everything's square and building the jig. So without wasting any further time, let's get started. Okay, so just to give an update of the progress, as you can see, I've squared all the corners in my trusty Swanson Speed Square. I've checked with the level to make sure she's all level. I measured from corner to corner, and then corner over here, corner over there, inside corners, and those measure 135 each. So this should be about as square as I'm gonna get it. So I'm gonna tack it now, and then we're gonna weld it all together, and then I gotta do a piece in the middle just to help stiffen it up, and then that's gonna be basically the frame for the jig. So let's get started on the welding.
Great success.
Okay, so unfortunately, I didn't record the process of putting it up on the jig. So I'm just gonna explain what we did quickly here. So first, I had to build 4 of these tire cribs. And as you can see, they're pretty tall. They're just stacked 2x4s, nailed together. Nothing too complicated about that in the crisscross pattern. Now, to get it up to the right height, I had to ensure that from the lowest point in the car, I had at least 7 inches of clearance to the jig itself. So the measurement for the tire cribs was essentially from the floor to the top of the jig, and then from that distance up had to be at least 7 inches. So what we did was used an engine hoist. We lifted the front end of the car up first, rested it on the jig or the cribs on the front, then went to the back, used the rear frame rails, lifted it up, mounted it on the, rested it on top of the cribs in the rear. And then from there, we slid the jig underneath, leveled it, and then cut these uprights. So the 4 that are supporting the car on the rockers, because that's where most of the weight is right now, were cut at 12.5 inches. We wanted to give ourselves a little bit extra room. That minimum of 7 inches was for datum gauges, which I'll go through in another video, which are just to check the frame alignment, height, and whatnot. So we cut those at 4.5 inches, put them underneath, snug, ensured the car was resting on them, welded them on the inside of the frame, and that was it. The whole car was supported. Now, the good thing, like with this jig, is I made it a little bit longer than I needed to, is so that we could add stuff to it. So you can see here, since the project has started and the rear frame rails were taken out, we supported the rear end of the car via the wheel wells with another upright wedged in there. And then we also used the frame of the jig for uprights for the frame rails, which have helped us locate the position that they belong in. So before we cut the old ones out, we put uprights in that manner, so that way when we knew the new ones were coming in, they were going to rest on top of that, and that should get us pretty close to the position that they needed to be. So that's the jig build, guys. If you have any questions, leave them below. When I started this part of the project, I have to admit I was a little intimidated. I wasn't sure what to do, how it was supposed to work out.
And it all came together in the end, I think, pretty well. The measurements I chose for under the car lined up perfectly under the rockers. And that's the only spot I really had to long-term kind of support this car because I have to do all my frame rail work. So that's good. That worked out well. As you can see, I'm a little bit behind on getting you guys videos. I started this video with a mustache and that's gone. And as you've seen the cars I kind of showed you throughout the end of this video here, we've done a fair bit of work and I just haven't gotten towards editing videos yet. So hopefully I've kind of got a little bit of break in between doing some work on this car. I'm gonna get some of these videos up for you guys who are following the build, which I greatly appreciate. As always, if you enjoy it, like, subscribe. It goes a long way to helping the channel. And I'll see you at the next one. Till then, guys, take it easy.